I was in a car accident in January because a retarded fucking drug mule T-boned my car at an intersection. It was 100% on him and his Indian-like driving skills. I'm still recovering from the accident. I used to be able to do over 50 push-ups in one sitting, but now I can do no more than 30. The doctor also said I shouldn't do bench because that could very likely aggravate or re-tear my arm tendon. Brutal. And throughout the summer, I've realized that this was the best outcome for me this year because I'd be on a third-year strike of working around 75 hours a week for half a year otherwise. Because of my injury, I can't do my lawn care job. Wait, did I read this? I don't think I read this. I'm having memories of when I skimmed some of these to see if they were real. And I'm having a Mandela effect moment, kind of. Anyway. Even though all the managers were nice, I hated most of the other drivers. All the ones I disliked were of a skin color. That's how I wrote it, of a skin color. I'm wondering what color that is. I've had equipment taken from my truck multiple times, setting me back nearly an hour each time because I didn't realize the shit was gone until I arrived at the work site. I even overheard one of the foul-mouthed baboons bragging that he's banging 2 chicks and one doesn't even know about it. And the cherry on top is I have to listen to all the customers complain that these lazy chimps can't do their fucking job. Why stay at the job? Because I would be in my parents' basement playing video games all day before going to my other job. Well, I'm sure nobody here would know anything about that. I was saving up all that money for whenever I'd need it, and it disappeared in an instant when I had to get a new car because the donkey rapist totaled my old one. On the bright side, my car is paid off. On the not-so-bright side, I went from $11,000 down to $2,000. The slave labor paper is now gone like the worthless scraps they are. On to the more personal stuff. I'm currently an early 20s man with a slight retardation diagnosis. Alright, brutal. Okay. I can hold a conversation with people, but most of the time, unless I know we like the same copes, will you. Yeah, I know what you mean. Until you stop talking to me, because I don't feel like pretending to care about what you say. Yep. That's not just retarded people, trust me. Yeah, I know that feeling. I'm wondering if this was brought about by me being homeschooled most of my life. Yeah, maybe. You weren't socialized enough at an early age. I really only have one friend, and he lives in another state. Other than him, I don't think I've ever had any real friends. I was never abused in the friend group I was in, but I was never really a part of it now, looking back at it. It kind of makes sense now why I lost contact with all of them. I don't think if a woman has ever once been attracted to me. Oh, you don't think a woman has ever been. Okay. Whenever a woman starts being nice to me, I try to be more talkative with them. But I guess they find this disgusting because every time they start to distance themselves and sometimes start looking at me as if I'm a pile of shit rather than a person. Did you start talking about bionicles? Apparently, even if you're a 6'5", Chad, not naming anyone specific, of course, who people want on Chudcast. If you start talking about bionicles, then women get disgusted. I am by no means an ugly freak. If I put on a pair of pilot glasses, I look like someone in Top Gun. Never watched it. You should watch it, it's good. And if I put on a green hoodie, I look similar to the Uncle Ted sketch. Maybe you should shave your beard then. Yeah, it says SDGs, yeah. I'm glad chat knew what I was talking about. But I think I referenced it before anyway. Anyway, so I don't smell bad or anything, so I assume this is because I'm slightly retarded, because other than that, I have zero clue on what it is. Well, do you sound retarded, though? Do you talk like this? Hello! I love you, Mary! Talking about my uncles! I know, this is supposed to be Doomer Hour, and I'm ruining it already. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being a dick. I'm being a dick. Especially this is a chat member who was here earlier this stream. So he could be watching right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think the neck pain is kind of like fucking with my head. Anyway, I don't try talking about shit like Berserk, just normal shit. There was this cute Latina chick I worked with at my other job that was always really nice to me and twice grabbed my hand and forced me to dance with her. Oh damn, yeah, you should have got with her. And so Christmas rolled around and I decided to get her something nice. I got her a sweater, and after I gave it to her, she hugged me for what felt like an eternity. That's when I found out getting hugged by a young attractive woman that isn't related to you feels really nice. I wouldn't know. Shame the fucking bitch decided I'm disgusting the next day. Okay, you definitely did some. She started distancing herself from me and later quit her job. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't get hitched with a Latina considering they spoil like milk. Yeah, they turn to Thomas, as they say. I say they. They is Devin. Whatever. I thought it was funny, though. Now, on to the last topic, weight loss and muscle building. I was always a little fat fuck kid. In my early teens, I convinced myself that you'll get a girlfriend if you have muscle and not fat. So I went from 250 pounds of pure fat to 170 of mostly muscle. Nice. I'm around your height. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you were lean then if you're 5'9". Lean-ish, anyway. And do you know what's changed? Not much. I can at least have a genuine smile when I look at myself in the mirror because I'm no longer a worthless collection of sludge. Sure, I like being able to run a mile, but nothing incredibly important has changed. Moral of the rant? Don't expect much after you lose a large African village worth of weight. You won't get a girlfriend, and if you do, I'm going to gut you. I'm gonna gut you, fag. Alright, based ending. Based, I approve. Yeah, gut these motherfucking 6'2" Sincel chads pretending they can't get pussy. I'm with you. I'm with you. Alright. That was decent. Decent story. Alright, I'll add this to my playlist. This song's pretty good. Hold on. What, did I at least just name the playlist Doomer Hour? Yes, I did. Thank God. Okay. Alright, where was I? There we go. He might be retarded, but his humor and analogies are 160 IQ. Yeah, I mean, there was some grammatic errors and a lot of spelling errors, but I still deciphered it. So I can, you know, I mean, it's fine. Like, it was still understandable, so. And yeah, it was funny. Like, dumb people can definitely be funny. Don't get me wrong. For sure. There's plenty of dumb comedians. Like, dumb as hell. Jedi Sand thanks to 8 months of membership. Can you play Guts theme slowed, not thrown? Slowed and not thrown. What a weird way of saying it. Okay. Sure. It's a little loud. Hold on. Skip. Well, it was a membership. It was a membership comment, so I'm obligated to have it play at least for the next story. Alright, skip. Never mind. Never mind. No. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Time out. I'm timing him out. Nope. That's a timeout. The more incredible Grimlock, thanks to Bucks. Requiem for a Hero from Metaphor Refantasio. Okay. Alright, I'll just read this now since I just saw it. MD, hello. Thanks, $2. What's your email? syntheticmangaming@gmail. Okay. Initially, this rice bag's not even warm anymore anyway. Hopefully the fucking ibuprofen kicks in soon. Initially, I wrote a way more detailed recount of the events that made me into a no-hope NEET, but it was way too long. Apologies if this is way too much and doesn't feel like a story. Hopefully, the story will serve as a good example of how not to be a retard parent and don't trust teachers. Uh-oh. In the beginning of middle school, I was an odd mix of the weird social kid while reclusive. It sounds contradictory, but it's simply how I was. The first year was the most satisfied I was socially as a kid, having a good mix of friends and people who wouldn't severely bully me. That's an interesting way of putting it. Everything was pretty normal, though as the saying goes, good things don't last. That's not exactly how the saying goes, but yeah. In general, my grades were average to bad. Now, my neglectful, easily irritable, alcoholic dad and narcissist mom, constantly loudly arguing, combined with increasing ADHD tendencies from a growing internet, video game, and porn addiction, could obviously get in the way of my homework and attentiveness towards school. Could you believe the schools gave us laptops from 6th to 12th grade that had unregulated school and home internet access? What, really? Unregulated... Okay, well, when I was in school, the laptops, they tracked every website you visited, and I remember they even confronted students on them visiting certain sites. Even in intermediate school, I had minor sessions with the school therapist about my attention, so maybe the writing was on the wall for all this. And I gotta say, the irritable alcoholic dad, narcissist mom, that sounds familiar to me. Very familiar. Eventually, this all snowballed into recurring visits to my middle school office for routine discussions about grades and IQ tests. Seriously, I guess I was doing so bad they started to think I was retarded. That's fucking brutal. We got 2 retards in a row. That's... I mean, I always knew chat was retarded. I'm glad it's being confirmed in real time. Oh, chat. Anyway, I'm sorry. Eventually, this all snowballed into recurring... Oh, wait, yeah. However, the beginning of the end was when they started to involve my mom in all of this. Multiple things were wrong with this. As stated before, she's very narcissistic and took every problem I had as a blow to herself and her ego, rather than being considerate to me and helping me solve my problems by reflecting on herself or actions. I gotta say, we might have had the same mom. It's possible that there might just be another copy of my mom out there in the universe. Anyway, not just this, but she already had trust issues with me over incidents of lying as a kid, so she never truly believed me if I told her my problems, or if I did well in school, or basically anything. However, the biggest problem was the simple fact that she's a woman and has the decision-making skills of a woman. More and more of these sessions started to occur over increasingly dumb shit. Grades I understood, but then the teachers started reporting to the counselor that I wasn't paying attention or I was talking to people during class. The breaking point for the counselor was over the fact I refused to change during some gym classes, as unbeknownst to me, it counted for a grade. Oh, change clothes. Okay. She told me and my mom that doing that would tank my grade, and in the same session, she gave my mom an ultimatum. I either continue with the possibility of getting held back, or I'd be placed into smaller classes. My mom, with the decision-making skills of a woman, freaked out and basically pressured me, nudging me into the idea of small classes, rather than having faith in me to do better. Her pride couldn't take the possibility of me being held back. In my defense, I'm a child, I didn't know any better, especially with the given pressure, and I gave in. I just wanted to stop doing the sessions and wanted to go back to friends and classes. So I chose the small classes, and that was basically the end of my school life. Okay, what year was this? This is still middle school, right? I think so. Okay. The way the counselor described those small classes were in very deceptive ways. Not verbatim. They would be classes where you would have more individual time with teachers, and it will be with students that you know. Like she knew who I hung out with. All lies. There was no in-between with the students inside those classes. You either had delinquent, low IQ bad boys or utter retards. Not a single person like me who sat on the low side of both. What followed were years of becoming absolutely demoralized, increasingly isolated, and socially destroyed. I became the most depressed I ever was. There were classes of 7 people with a special education teacher. Do you know how depressing it is to be in a class of misfits who would never interact or are too autistic to interact, led by a teacher who is equally demoralized and depressed for reasons outside of our control? Oh, the teacher's demoralized, depressed too? That was the experience for that year of school. Okay. Friends and people who knew me started to distance naturally or plainly due to the idea that I looked weird now. You looked weird now. Did I miss a line in here? Why do you look weird now? During our end of year dance, I remember just sitting absolutely alone. Not a single person or friend came up to me, and the ones I did go up to were very brief, like they wanted to ignore me. The only saving grace of that night was there being a rented video game truck with TVs inside, so I played Mario Kart and Smash and walked home. Okay, so they wanted to stay away from the retarded kid, since you're in the retard class. I understand that. Only if I knew how bad it would get. Out of my final year of middle school, I moved on to high school. There is when it went from it's over to it's beyond over. Now, not only has all this still been going on, but my district started to get more diverse in the coming years. The classes that in the past had Polish bad boy delinquents soon became a crimer N-word hell. It sounds like I'm joking, but my classes over 3 years were filled with actual psychopathic future crime statistics. One actually died driving a neon green Dodge Challenger off a bridge. Not only had the classes become diversified, but they still included the retards, if not more, that were way more severe. I guess some of this makes more sense knowing you're Polish, I suppose. Something about the Slavs. You always like get this weird ass culture, the not quite white culture. I'm just gonna keep saying it. I know it makes certain people upset. And I know obviously things got worse once the mysterious immigrants showed up, but even before the immigrants showed up, I'm like, this sounds like off-white to me, you know? I don't know. Anyway, but the true icing on the cake was the new teachers. My new teachers were my actual tormentors, specifically this white woman therapist who was the ringleader of the program, and one of the assistant helpers, a courier for attendance slips. The woman was essentially the meat grinder who shoves the N-word in and makes them a SSRI'd retard wagey after school. Okay, that's quite the colorful description there. She didn't get satisfaction from that, however, and seemingly got enjoyment from being validated by black kids or simply the virtuous idea of her career path. She absolutely despised me personally, and despite being my school therapist and main assistant for classes, she talked shit behind my back about me and even my parents. I only found out due to being oddly close because of my only friend to the courier assistant, who again disliked me. It was all really odd and confusing, and I swear I never did anything bad to anyone. I had my moments of being defiant, but I never did anything aggressive or mean to anyone. I simply became quiet. It could just be a self-hating, you know, leftist, screeching feminist type. Kind of sounds like it. There's a lot of those in education these days, from what I've heard. The courier assistant on multiple occasions would mutter under his breath, oh no, it's a man. Okay, I assumed it was a woman for some reason. Would mutter under his breath, piece of shit, to me if I got upset about something with him, or straight up say, fuck you. Okay, is there no rules in Poland? Like, they don't have rules in schools. You can just call students pieces of shit. This is what I'm saying. This doesn't sound white to me. You know what I mean? I assure you, you cannot say that in American schools. I mean, maybe some American schools, but not where I grew up. I'll tell you that. Where I grew up, the teachers absolutely would get in trouble for doing anything bad to kids, even if they deserved it. I'll tell you that. Even in the fucking ghetto school. Well, maybe, actually. Maybe that makes more sense in the ghetto school, because they're mostly white teachers. But, whatever, okay. Hold on. Where was I? Oh shit, that lightning. That lightning's getting worse, guys. That was close. Please don't cut the power. Dude, the neck is distracting me so hard that I'm losing my train of thought completely. I'm sorry to the story, dude. Where the hell was I? Okay, I see it. I still remember one incident with the therapist woman where some teachers and some students in a lunch break classroom were apparently theorizing if I did drugs, and my friend who was in classroom told me something the therapist woman said about me. He wouldn't take drugs because he's way too lazy to go to a dealer. I mean, that's not that bad, I guess. I don't think I'd be that upset if someone said that about me. That's kind of funny, though. There's plenty of other incidents, too, like them roasting me. And there's like 3 quotes around that. The teacher's words. The teacher said roast, and that's fucking cringe. I'll save those for another time. To say the least, the fear of being gossiped about and my personal information being discussed like school kid drama, excuse me, absolutely fucked me up. That's when I knew I was truly alone, and the people I was supposed to find comfort in were pieces of shit. This is where I lost almost all my respect for the idea of authority and teachers. Yeah, it's, again, a great example of why, you know, Zoomers are, you know, more right-wing than millennials, and Gen Alpha will be even more right-wing than Zoomers, probably. Unserious, at least the men, I should say, not women. I wouldn't be shocked that the women are just as left-wing. Unserious, appreciative, bitter F-slurs who have nothing in life, going out of their way to try and make kids' lives worse, under a guise of virtue. Even when I told my mom about these things and the way I felt, she didn't fully believe me. Yeah, that my mom would also not believe me, I'll be honest. She would either tell me it can't be that bad, or gave me a fake choice of switching schools. She would say she would switch schools or homeschool, but then moan and beg me to just stay at the school because of the money. She denies that she said any of that to this day. Yep, that sounds like my mom too. And acts as if she was fully on board with stopping everything, and says she believed me completely. To conclude, all of this could have been avoided if I was placed in homeschooling. Homeschooling might isolate you way more, but for the sake of becoming normal, well, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you would have been normal if you were homeschooled. But whatever, unless your parents went out of their way to make sure you socialize with other kids. Anyway, I would have taken pure isolation over isolation, depression, and demoralization. I don't disagree with the ideas that you get a thicker skin with confrontation either, but if it's everybody in your life, it completely fucks up your perception of everything. Yeah, I agree with you, trust me. I agree with everything you just said. I agree with that statement. It did mine for years, even after school. If you are a parent, please listen to everything your kid has to say, and always go out of your way to ask them how they are feeling. Never let them become a quiet kid. Yep, that's a good lesson. I related to some of this story, none of the retard shit. I was actually pretty smart, but the rest of it I did relate to. I wouldn't say any, though, like, my teachers were that bad. The school counselor at the second high school I went to was an absolute piece of shit, but other than that, maybe, I probably have told that story at some time over the years. It was the story about my mother basically invading the therapy sessions and saying I was a spoiled brat for not appreciating a really cheap off-brand TV that she bought that broke after, like, 3 months. And then my mother, this is when my mom was making a shit ton of money, by the way. But anyway, she basically brainwashed my therapist into saying that I'm a bad person because I wasn't happy enough on Christmas Day. So that was when I was 17. So yeah, that was great. That therapist bitch is an absolute piece of shit. It's always the female. Never get a female therapist. Ever. Ever. I love how this woman is like a school counselor and then also a part-time therapist as well. It's like, bitch, you're bad at both those. You should just you should be fired. Anyway. What's the next story? Alright, we'll switch songs. This one's okay, but I'm not that into it. Yeah, I agree with Brian. Therapist for men is just a bad idea. Your bros, ideally your parents or your other close family members will be your therapist, but if not, it's got to be your friends. Not some random stranger that you can bitch to and they won't even give a fuck. Brill Seeker, thanks $2. When are you going to start making these Sonny Poir comics? I get it, like Chris Chan, Sonichu. That was super funny. Beefaroni, thanks to the 13 months of membership. Get that ass banned. That was to the guy who was admitting he doesn't care if I get banned. Governor Jimmy, thanks $2. Haha, we're all gonna die virgins. There's plenty of chat members who have had sex. I hate to disappoint you. Sean Septum, thanks to the $2. Fire Emblem 3 Houses unfulfilled. Okay, we can pull that one up. Okay. Oh wait, is this the one that's a sequel story to one of the other ones? Okay, yeah, this is. This was one of the over-the-top ones, I think, that was... I don't think we called it fake, but it was pretty extreme. This is the one where the guy's sister died, and remember I asked about what happened to the sister's kids? This is the sequel story to that one. Okay. Yeah, hold on. So this is a clarification. If you don't... I'm not going to reread the original story, so I don't know, you might have to go back. I don't know if anyone's clipping anything that I make anymore, so this might be lost to time because... You know, the streams are unlisted, and I'm probably going to private a bunch more to catch up soon. But in case you do remember that story, maybe I can give you a quick rundown. Let's see. Yeah, this is the guy whose mom died because she didn't want to go to the hospital. The sister died from a car accident, and his dad was gay. This is the one we thought was fake because it's too over the top. So whatever. We'll read part 2, I guess. To clarify a few things, hold on. My ears are getting weirdly sensitive for some reason. I'm gonna turn that down on both our ends. Okay. To clarify a few things, I live in the USA. I didn't bring up my sister's kids because I thought... to include it with my older sister's explanation. Also, to briefly talk about my other sister, she's a typical normie who is purposely blissful and cannot have a conversation without getting annoyed. Oh, and I cannot have a conversation without getting annoyed, alright. What happened to the kids was they got taken away from her and they moved in with me, my mom, and brother. They got taken away from my mom because one of them was a toddler and we would give him back to my sister because they refused to give us daycare credits. They found out because my brother snitched. We had no way to watch him consistently. My dad then moved back so that he could take them in. My sister died and they went to my sister's boyfriend, who also did heroin with her multiple times. Were they his kids, or is this some random soy boy who took care of the kids? Later, they got taken from him because he stopped taking them to school. My dad had a chance to take them back. Is this guy just making part 2 of a fake story? Like, he's just like, I don't understand. Is this just... like, what? I can't tell if this is... Whatever. Let's just keep going. It's not that long. My dad had a chance to take them back, but you know what this F-slur did? He got a part-time job at a gay orgy camp. See, this sounds just so fake. This sounds like the fakest shit ever. And decided that was more important than taking in your grandkids. I don't know what happened to them now. The oldest is at least 18 or 19. What? How old are you? It sounds like it's written by a guy in his 20s. I mean, just the way it's typed. Is this just fake? Should I keep reading this? Yeah, I don't know. I think this is fake. Whatever. I'm just gonna block this email. Sorry if it's real. It doesn't sound real. Bye. Okay, to preface this, I am currently 24 years old and very close to 25. I've had what some would consider a rough start to life. I was born into a rental house with drug-addicted/alcoholic parents. We constantly moved, not just towns, but entire states. So making any long-term friends was already difficult. When I turned about 13 years old, my father, during one of thousands of arguments with my mother, had waited until we were all asleep and lit the trailer on fire? Okay, is this another fake one? Anyway, I'll just keep reading. We managed to wake up and escape with only the living room and kitchen being destroyed before it was put out. My mom finally divorced him after 13 years of marriage. Leading into my teenage years, I had a stepdad who was by all means an asshole. He had suffered his own trauma throughout his life, leading him to be an asshole. Okay, well, oh right, this is a stepdad, not the dad. Okay. We're on good terms now, but it took a very long time. Eventually, my mom quit drugs, although she's still a drunk. I have a decent relationship with her now as well. Aren't you skipping a few steps in the story? Like, what? This is something you say at the end of the story. Anyway, sorry, just had to critique that. When I was in high school, I had become chubby and unclean, caused by depression. I never kept any long-term friends, and of course had no love life to speak of. When I turned around 17, I had lost some of the weight and met my first soon-to-be girlfriend. I was such a massive shut-in that she was the one to ask me out. Oh shit, are you Chad? Chad, hello? And she was on the fat side. I'm still saying, you know, you're definitely above average looking. Doesn't matter that she's fit. But not having any experience with a relationship, as well as being very vulnerable to anyone being kind to me, I accepted. That's actually pretty much how I dated the black girl, I'm not gonna lie. That's almost the same situation. Anyway, to keep a long story short, I was emotionally dead for my time during the relationship, and so I couldn't keep myself emotionally attached and ended up leaving her. Her not being physically attractive didn't help either, so this literally is the same as me dating the black girl. Goddamn, same thing. Once I had left high school, I began working out and self-improving. I decided to join the Marine Corps, but at the time was still borderline sociopathic. While I was there, I learned everything I needed to become disciplined and self-respecting. But I ended up leaving before finishing training because I had begun to realize just what kind of government I was putting my life on the line for. Good, good. In order to leave without having to stay in the RSP program for years, I headbutted a wall until I had a black eye and blood streaming down my head. Jesus. And attacked another recruit the day after to make it seem as though I was mentally unstable. Although you could argue that I was to pull that off. Yeah, okay. It worked, and after returning from the Marines, I met another girl, who this time was mentally deranged. She was a sugar baby who slept around with older men, oh god, and took as much from them as she could all the while. I'm shocked that I've never had one of those try and get me. I guess maybe I don't... Sorry, I'm derailing again. I'll keep going. She never told me any of this. Shit. Eyes are getting dry. I'm gonna turn off this fucking light. She never told me any of this. I had to find out for myself by eventually discovering her manipulative language, and later discovering that she had a Reddit account that was in the subreddit r/sugarbabies. Women will leave all of the evidence of them being a horrible person on their phone. All you have to do is look through a woman's phone and boom, you found out everything bad about her. They do not learn. They have no sense of privacy whatsoever. Before I learned any of this, she emotionally manipulated me and strung me along in the friend zone for a full year. And once I discovered the sugar baby shit, I tried talking to her about it and thought I could get her to change. Obviously very fucking stupid on my part. She cut off contact with me shortly after. From that experience, I learned just how far someone will romantically fuck with you in order to get what they want. Okay, hold on here. Hold on. I'm just rereading. I'm trying to make sure of something here. Let's see. I mean, did you sleep with her, at least? I mean, if you paid for her existence, it's basically glorified prostitution, right? Okay, anyway. In the past 3 years, I developed periodontal disease, which is a disease caused by bacteria underneath the gums, attacking and destroying your jawbone. Ooh, surrounding your teeth. That sounds very painful. I got this disease because my mother's side of the family was always incredibly susceptible to it. Yeah, that's genetics for you. By the time I realized I had it, it had done far too much damage, and I had to have all my teeth removed. What the fuck? I now wear dentures, and the average person wouldn't be able to tell unless they were paying attention. But I fear the day I get into another relationship, and my lover has to wake up to a toothless face. Oh. Yeah. Yep. Despite the setbacks, I've been going to the gym every day for years, and have also learned a lot about male fashion, and have improved my appearance drastically. I used to weigh 190 pounds of no muscle and all fat in high school. I now weigh 142 pounds. For reference, I'm 5'8". Oh, so you're a twink then. Either that or you're lying about your height in an email. The only thing stopping me from finding another relationship is the sheer lack of women that are physically fit and mentally stable. And the older I get, the more difficult it will be to find someone. And then in a short follow-up email, he says, in the future, I could elaborate on one of my many sub-stories I have about these events, but I felt summer would be a good start. Yeah, that was an alright story, I guess. It definitely started very over the top with the trailer getting burnt down and shit, but... yeah, I don't know. Yeah. No, twink, it doesn't have to do with the height, Mirastol, you tard. I'm saying because he's 142 pounds at 5'8". That's very, very thin. I used to weigh 135 at 6'1", so you were a skeleton. That's literal skeleton. Devin's a skeleton, and he weighs like 125 or 130 at 5'9". So, that's a skeleton. 135 at 6'1" is skeleton. When I was 16, I was 160 to 6'1", but I lifted. Missing, you're still very, you know, skinny. Even if you had muscle. Yeah, Roland, I know. Okay. Here's the next one. Alright, this one actually has a song request in it from a game that chat has asked me to play before. Class of 09. I know that shit would piss me off, though, if I ever played this shit. I just get very, very mad at women. I know it's a lefty guy who fucking wrote it as well. Okay, the first Doomer story was the best one so far, so props to that guy. I'm a skinny 5'9" black dude that has a hard time keeping a deep voice. I basically wear similar dark hoodies and dark hats. Every day at school, I looked really depressed and paranoid. Shmool Schmooter vibes. Well, the way he said was school splatter vibes, like Splatoon, I guess. I hated my life. I've been poor for most of it. My family was awful. Most of my peers avoided me. I did the same. Only jokesters talked to me. Only the oofy doofies, the fuck, what was the other term? I've even forgotten it because I've said Jester Max. That's it, Jester Maxes. I had an acquaintance there. He hasn't texted me back for a year now. He rarely initiated conversations in the first place. My actual friends were in different schools. It didn't help that I recently got rejected at the time, going into the last month of high school. The first girl was out of my league. She looked like one of the hot popular girls. She seemed really cool and confident. We were facing each other from different tables. I think it was the first day after changing classes. She stared at me. I noticed and looked at her, realizing she got caught. She would quickly look away, trying to figure out what to focus on nervously. This happened multiple times on multiple days. I sat at another table to the right of me. Same thing happened. There was a way taller, more attractive black dude that sat next to me sometimes, so I assumed she was looking at him. But when he wasn't in class, the same thing happened. Then I thought she was only looking at me because I looked creepy. Like how you can't stop looking at a car crash. I didn't want to believe that she could be into me. Trying to talk to her would have been so cringy. No way she didn't have a boyfriend. My only response was to give her a confused face. She eventually stopped. Ooh. Brutal. I have a very similar version of that story. It's the one, the girl I asked out in 8th grade, and then she, you know, rejected me. Despite the fact she also was, like, looking and smiling at... Well, she was looking and directly smiling at me. But no. Yeah, she rejected me. Anyway. That's the girl I said I assumed she thought I was autistic like my best friend was at the time. Anyway, moving on. Well, I guess he wasn't my best friend by that point, but he's still one of my friends. The second girl was more on my level. She looked like the innocent, nervous, cute nerd girl. She sat 2 desks away from me. She did the same thing as the first girl, but I definitely knew she was looking at me. There were less students in that class in general. Talking to her would have made me look like a desperate creep, from how nervous she looked all the time and my school splatter look. The classroom was so quiet most of the time. People would easily hear our conversation, and following her to talk to her wouldn't look good. Yeah, no shit. I feared getting me too'd. Messaging them privately would have been risky as well, but it doesn't matter. Just because they looked at me longer than 3 seconds, multiple times means nothing. I don't care. I was done with chasing. Well, I mean, bro, you're only in, what, high school or something? I don't know if you should give up that early. Anyway. Giving them so much power. I hate how easily they made me feel so conflicted. Even if I dated one of them, I probably wouldn't have been a good boyfriend. They most likely would have been disappointed, especially the popular girl. But realistically, if I asked, hoping for the best, they would have said they had a boyfriend. They can easily just say that and you can't do anything. I still miss them alongside 5 others. Nothing happened. They're gone, all of them. I have so much baggage, and yes, I do hate myself. If only I had more money. Well, I don't know if money would solve this problem, dude. Stay uncuckable. Own your virginity. Being alone is good. Okay, this sounds like you're trying to convince yourself, not other people. You're not shackled by people's eyes. It's better than being pussy whipped or having a bad Tinder hookup. I'm talking about Gerbert. Gerbert Johnson. Anywho, are you going to play Class of '09 synth? It's still funny, I swear. What it do, it is. I mean, I might play it at some point. But, yeah, it kind of sounds like you're coping here, and you regret not taking actions when you had the chance. And trust me, there's plenty of us. There's many of chat that has also been through that exact same thing. I actually did try, you know, back then at least, in the age we're talking about, and I failed. So, here I am. But, yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people who didn't try. Let's see. Alright, we need a new song. Oh wait, I was sent a song for this story. I remember now. Hold on, let me do that before I do this. I just remembered. YouTube. Hello? YouTube. YouTube. Alright, I think we played this one before, actually. Okay. When I was in high school, I dated this girl that I met online. We'll call her Echo, I guess. She was my age, and I was fairly innocent when it came to relationships. Very kind, sweet, kind of cringe and gay, I know. Hold on, I gotta turn it down. I don't know, I wouldn't say... I'm thinking... Hold on, how old were you? Yeah, this is high school. I wouldn't say it's cringe and gay. Alright, hold on, moving on. However, I was more or less a very happy person despite the horrific life that I had lived. Before I say the story, a little context. I have Asperger's syndrome, Asperger's, whatever. So understanding social norms was difficult at times for me. I literally read books on how to communicate with people properly. For example, people who, looking back, were mocking me when I asked to hang out with them after school. They told me to wait for them at the playground, and so I did. For about 3 hours. Yeah, that definitely sounds like autism, alright. When I saw them the following day, I asked them where they had been. They responded with resplendent laughter, and I got feeling extremely angry and walked away. A teacher asked what happened, and I responded with, "Nothing, it doesn't matter." Damn. Now back to the relationship. I met Echo 2 months before I moved back into my late father's home in a different state. It was kind of schmaltzy and stuff. I was a very sweet person back then. We decided to date long distance, and we ended up dating for 9 months off and on for the following reasons you will read. So, for about the first month of being back in the not shithole of Wisconsin, it was alright. We texted and called for hours a day. Oh, he writes again, things were alright. Okay. Eventually, I met a friend. We'll call her Nonna, like grandmother in Italian. She was a cool chick or whatever. We became friends. I became friends with her boyfriend, a mouth-breathing retard known as Michael. The guy lied about everything. If he told you snow was white, you'd be wanting to double-check. Yeah. Well, I told Echo about her and the new friends I made. She seemed short and fairly annoyed by it, and immediately asked if she would have to worry about Nonna. I told her, of course not. She's dating Michael, and I'm dating you. Why would there be a problem? She started being more distant and short and seemingly unstable. I would have to endure what seemed to be constant interrogations and aggression. Okay. Yeah. So then she would tell me how she was seeing her friends and would go 7 to 11 hours without texting me back. Found out she cheated on me, and I was very upset about it, as one would imagine. See, think of this as a lesson for chat. You know, a lot of us, myself included, I guess, would want the yandere girlfriend, but unfortunately the real life version is more like this. The crazy bitch goes and cheats on you because she's jealous of you talking to other human beings, because yandere doesn't exist, really. But anyway, moving on. So we kind of broke up and kind of went on a break. She would send me audio messages of her flirting with other guys and shit. Why did you not block her ass? Was not enjoying that. I was fairly pissed off at that point. So I started to hang out with Nonna, who had allegedly broken up with Michael, which didn't end up being true. Me and him were both unwittingly Eskimo brothers. So when Echo found out, she went fucking ballistic. Batshit crazy Russian psycho nut job, tiny terror cunt. That's what he wrote. That's good shit. That's good shit. Would send me conversations of her and her fuck buddies. Why'd you not block her? I know you have Asperger's, but come on, man. Anyway. Okay, anyway. So I, being the hyper-rational, hyper-reasonable, egoist, stoic man that I was, apologized for doing the horizontal monster mash with Nonna after she had already cheated on me, worded exactly like that, lol. Okay. So it went back and forth, dating, not dating, arguing about stupid shit. I got more tired of it, but I felt guilty because back then, despite my very angry nature and hateful disposition at the time, being tortured by her was still hurtful. She threatened to forever sleep herself if I blocked her. Okay, there you go. We got our answer. We had to keep reading. Should've just blocked her anyway. Who gives a fuck? And would be nice again when things went too sideways. So we would see each other every... So we would see each other every month because I had to go to Wisconsin for checkups with Child Protective Services due to previous tragic circumstances involving my mom. Well, that may have given away who this is for the long-term Sincel viewers. But anyway, so the last time we saw each other in person, I got my lovely sloppy seconds and thirds with the woman who had cheated on me with like 4 guys at this point. Okay. Echo and I's last conversation was an argument. I asked her what I could do to make up for hurting her. Again, recall earlier that she had cheated on me multiple times. I didn't forget. She told me to forever sleep myself, and I filmed myself saying to her, okay, fine, and sent her that as a video. I then screamed, lost my shit crying, and was filled with rage and sadness. Okay. I ran to my room and grabbed some broken glass, about to do it. My dad walked in on me in the second, possibly most awkward thing one could be doing. We yelled at each other, him worried about me and confused, I filled with rage. He saw me put the big broken piece of glass in my throat, then he did something strange. He turned off the light as I... Hold on. What? He turned off the light as I unzipped my throat on the side open multiple times. After I unzipped my neck, I felt very calm. Whenever I unzipped myself, I would be miraculously calm and peaceful. Why I did it for so long? Whenever I was angry, it would calm me down. Unzipped my throat on the side. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't think he's lying because I know who these people, who this is in chat, but I'm not. Is that a saying or something? I don't know what that means. No, there's no way he sliced his throat open. He's alive. Maybe a slight, like, surface cut. Is that what he's saying? Okay. My dad sat me down on the couch downstairs with my human bean juice. Okay, he did make a slight cut across his neck. I got it. Okay. It's, I don't know. This just doesn't sound right for some reason. Okay, anyway. My dad sat me down on the couch downstairs with my human bean juice pouring everywhere. He remained calm and placed me in the front seat of his squad car. Oh. Did he say his dad was a police officer somewhere in here? I missed that part. And began driving to a hospital. We were pulled over and he explained the situation to another police officer who then escorted him and myself to the hospital. We got there and they said they need to put stitches in my neck. I told them if they did, I'd rip them out. So they used what I think are called butterfly stitches and gauzed my neck. Went to the Happy Hotel and spent 2 weeks there. My 8th time in the wacko basket and the most unpleasant time I spent there. 8th time. Did you not learn the first 7? Anyway, I blocked her after I got out. She tried to get a hold of me for 2 years afterwards using new numbers. I ignored her until the last message and told her that I was in a good place now. I don't know what she wants, but could she not contact me anymore? Thank you. She responded with, I'm glad you're happy now, and I'm sorry I couldn't make you happy. I just thought, damn, this bitch is crazy. You're thinking that now. That's dude, you know, I said it earlier in the story, and I was even more right than I thought. Where it's like, this is the real world version of the yandere is not what you want on any level, because, oh, I guess if you remove the part about her cheating and sleeping with other dudes, it wouldn't be as bad, I guess. But that's really the part that ruins it and makes it the more realistic, unfortunately. Anyway, after her, I didn't really get as attached to women I dated, and I was with like 40 chicks? Not a flex, fuck them. All of them but 3 cheated on me. Okay, so, but, okay. I know you have Asperger's, so this is confusing me. Assuming this is real, you were with 40 chicks, but you're clearly like mentally unstable at multiple parts in this. What, do you have some kind of psycho riz? Are you 6'5" or something and good looking and you're just autistic? Is this the 6'2" synth cells who are claiming they can't get any? They just need the psycho riz or something? Anyway, whatever. I'm annoyed now. Not a flex, fuck them. All of them but 3 cheated on me. Had relationship issues for a long time, but now I'm married, not legally, to the washing machine known for arguing with you about cats. Well, now you really said who you are. being Chads and the saviors of mankind. Thank you for reading and food for thought. This was a mild retelling and not even top 5 of my bad doomer stories. Well, how bad could your life be if you slept with 40 chicks? I don't know. It's you gotta look on the bright side. I'm starting to get increasingly frustrated with autism stories. Me too, Brian. Me too, Brian. Let this story be hope to you 6'2", didn't even try a single time in your goddamn life, lazy ass motherfuckers in chat. This guy slept with 40 people and is a known chat member. And the woman is also a known chat member. What is your goddamn excuse? Fuck you. Yes, it was Undying Rasputin. I'll just say, because I mean, he obviously wanted you to know. He didn't make any attempt of hiding whose story that was. And yeah, Julia is the dishwasher in the story. the dishwasher cameo at the end. What do you mean, literally who? These are regular chat members that have been here for a long time. I don't know who that is. Oh my god, alright, well. I know I'm here for every stream, obviously, because I'm the streamer, so I'm here the whole time. But I can tell you, Undying Rasputin and Julia Turk have been in chat a long time. Anyway. Yeah, I see your message, Julia. Yeah. Okay. Oh, did I not hit that on loop? I didn't hit loop. I'm glad that perfectly ended. YouTube is giving me it has to be this way. As the next. They gave me a mix playlist. That's funny. I should add this Kingsfield OST to the playlist, though. If I didn't already, I should check what's on the playlist real quick. Because I do like that Kingsfield song. That's a good Doomer one. Let me just double check. No, it isn't. Okay, I'll add it. Okay. Were there any other super chat suggestions? Ozzy Azir, thanks to the 100 TRY. Only migrants in Poland are Ukrainians, so this is LARP. Okay, that's just factually untrue, though. I mean, I'm not going to say it's as many as some of the other European countries, but there's definitely brown people in Poland, dude. I'm pretty sure I've seen videos of brown people in Poland. Anyway, Key Hank, thanks to the 6 months of membership. Synthetic Insane Asylum, circa 2025, schizo emote. Yeah, okay. So, just throw out music suggestions, I guess. My god, you fucking guys trying to throw out Gotcha Slop OSTs. I don't think some of y'all understand how much being cheated affects somebody in their mental health. Yeah, but if he was cheated on 37 times, at what point do you just become numb to that or stop trying? Well, I know he has Asperger's, but I don't know. As someone who is more close to normal, we'll put it at that, That sounds insane. Yeah, okay, we can do RE2 Ada's theme. Hold on. I can't even remember what that sounds like off the top of my head for some reason. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So this story is from 2011 when I was in middle school. I'm 30 this year, just like you. Bear in mind some changes in the whole world between 2011 and now in terms of how society has changed and what behaviors are acceptable. Well, as you just said, I'm the same age as you, so I should understand this. The story will revolve around women, of course, lol. And to be more specific, about one cute girl I had a crush on. It was my last class of middle school and she was 1 year younger than me. I was just a regular, not so outgoing guy, not necessarily super introverted or autistic. I just lacked social experience and was just young. As they say, girls get these things earlier. I spotted her in school as she was super cute. She was blonde, but her face looked somewhat Asian. I had instant crush. Of course, with my small social circle and not going out anywhere after school, I didn't approach her yet. Months were passing and I was about to finish middle school, and by the end of it, I made a move that makes me realize now how much damage I got from it. So, being somewhat artistic, spell it right on stream, it's R, not you, guy. I get the message, you're autistic, fuck you. I was writing poems, and with all that Disney programming, I decided to write a poem to impress her. Yeah, you're autistic, fuck you. Nah. No, you're just, you know, being a cringe romantic teenager. So I did. Well, I won't post it here because I don't really remember it that well by now, but it was cringy. It had a somewhat food-related reference. Are you American? You're a fat American, aren't you? What do you mean food reference? Anyway. Food-related reference pointing out that it is hard to start relationships / know each other without a fork, where the poem was supposed to be that fork like an opening. Alright, you're obese. That's my diagnosis. Anyway, I let others rate the cringe levels. Thinking about it now, I'm not cringing at all. It's just 16-year-old me trying his best to make a move. What little did I know? Where little did I know? Whatever. My female friend that was actually hot gave her the letter. Were you her beta orbiter or something? Or her seemingly gay friend, if you had a hot female friend? Whatever, anyway. I didn't sign it as I was nobody, so she wouldn't recognize the name. Damn, even I wasn't that much of a nobody. I'm pretty sure most people knew my name. Anyway. And social media wasn't that big back then. And it was out. I was busy with other middle school activities like games and hentai, Fuda included. Represent! I was probably about the same age too when I started looking at that shit. Anyway. And then things were getting started. I texted her on Facebook saying that it was me and went on holidays for a couple of days so I could rest from all these strong emotions? Okay. And he wrote XD after that as well. I went back, no answer, nothing. I didn't even understand what does it mean. Then days have passed, nothing. I started to realize this is a silent no. My first rejection ever. Well, yeah, it sounds like you wrote something mega cringe. You actually wrote so I could rest, go on vacation so I could rest from all these strong emotions? What the fuck? Anyway, it was only 16, whatever. Anyway, so... but it's nothing because the things were going to get much worse. My middle school and high school was in the same building, so we would see each other next year. Damn, these burning looks. She recognized me because I had a profile picture. Her friends were looking at me with weird looks. It was so bad, man. I felt like such an idiot. They never said a word, but I felt so bad. And she, of course, told her friends. These girls were super hot, so as burned with a younger class, which had a lot of girls. I wasn't important, not a Chad, not a super weirdo, so probably no reason to bash me. Probably only a couple of her friends knew. But in my head, it was so big, it was blocking me from approaching younger girls in my high schools, and they were hot. Wait, I mean, you wrote a cringe thing, but I don't know. How much of this was in your head? I mean, I don't think, like... Oh, you did say it was in your head. Yeah, sorry. Reading comprehension moment. He said, but in my head, it was so big, it was blocking me from approaching younger girls. I got you. Anyway, but what is even more important, it turned out that she was a village whore. Okay. Yep, the town bicycle, indeed. Bear in mind, it was 2011, so it wasn't so common. Or maybe it was. Some friends that didn't know the poem story were telling me that she's been fucking a lot of guys and drinking at parties that were run by bad boys that were in the senior class. Now I was completely disillusioned about female nature. And here my narcissism kicked in, and that's good, because I wasn't really mad that she was a hoe, but that I made a fool of myself. I stopped caring about her, only about me being dishonored. I stopped to have any feelings other than feeling branded and like a fool. Yep, that's chud behavior, 100%. Doomer part is that it stopped me from approaching super hot and cute girl that looked a bit like Angelica from X Art? I don't know what that is. Because I knew they were kind of knowing each other. It was probably much bigger in my head than it actually was, so I robbed myself of high school sweetheart moments. And later, due to having crush on a new girl, I faded a couple chicks that were actually interested in me because I didn't want to sleep around. But I could. Then I got fat and shit, but it's not time for that story. Okay. I overcome this shit, but looking at this now, it's been a lot of damage, and it blocked me from approaching women for a couple years. Have a good time reading the story. Your non-white Slav synth cell. There you go. Don't look it up. It's a porn star. Is that what people were saying? Okay, hold on. We actually got a follow-up from the guy who, you remember the story everyone hated? No offense to this guy. But the story everyone hated where he was a beta orbiter for the military chick who did the school play. We got a follow-up to that one. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure if I want to read it because I feel like that one did piss everybody off, I think. But that one really made everyone mad, I think. But I'll put it to a poll. I will put it to a poll whether or not we want to read the follow-up. I think that's a good idea. Let's see. I'm adding this to the Doom Hour playlist because I love Resident Evil, as you know. I felt bad for him a little. Well, honestly, though, he really did exhibit a huge ego, even in... I'm saying this. It's me saying this. When I feel like he kind of, in some ways, was along... You know, he was... I don't want to be a dick. I was mad. I think I did just straight up say when we were reading. I'm like, why are you not including yourself as a subhuman in this story? Is the way I said it back then. I kind of feel bad, but whatever. That is what I said. Anyway, right, how do I want to phrase this? Read, follow up to theater kid story. Yes or no? That is a lot of yeses. That's a lot of yeses. I think we're probably gonna probably gonna get that follow up. Okay. What about? Excuse me. What about music suggestion? Hmm. I don't even. I mean, I reckon I know Roxas's theme, but all right, fuck it. Hold on, this gotta be a high quality one. That one's too old. That's better. Bringing me back. Bringing me back to my childhood with this one. Okay. I was not always like this. When I was younger, women actually wanted to talk to me. I had one or two girls even ask me out. A family friend's daughter and some girl from my science class in about, what, middle school? I wasn't thinking about relationships or my interest in girls at that age. Are you saying you said no to a girl asking you out? Or porn already had its life-sapping grip on me by then anyway, so my actual faculties for women were already numb. Maybe it's weird to think about young teenage me. I'm assuming you're missing a couple words in there. Young teenage me could have been in relationships, but really it's strange. And because of porn and sex education continuing to approach kids at a younger and younger age, it's a nightmare. But yeah, kids are already at it by then, I hear. Okay, we're not off to a great start. The common cope for being so out of the race, I suppose, is to claim to be a late bloomer or whatever. I even used to be considered charming. Here we go, his ego's going off again. But we've agreed to roast this guy. I say we, it's me. But this guy he's huffing his own farts a bit too much, and it's annoying me. Anyway. I mean, beyond the blatant flattery of your close family, teachers, or friends, I had a normal social life over several moves through several neighborhoods growing up, but then I petered out and my neighbors from down the street stopped talking to me and we never met each other again. My point is that I can't be that unattractive. I know I can't be. It's kind of like Synth said in the Father's Day Chudcast about black chicks really liking you for some reason, but I don't like ugly people. He wrote that in bold, by the way. I'm not young enough to run off of childlike looks and boyish charm or energy anymore. I'm already Norwood 3, I'm about the same as that, and past physical/sexual maturity. No longer a boy, but I can't call myself a man either. Okay, we're getting back to relatable. We're crawling our way back. My goal isn't to attract the old ladies who are the only ones who tell me I'm a nice or handsome young man either. No hag maxing. Yeah, my facial structure is fine. I'm not some fucking rice cell, nose cell, N-word cell, or anything else. So really, if I look good or not depends on whether or not I'm taking care of myself at the basic level. You know, no unkempt... Is this literally just him defending himself from the last story for 10 paragraphs? Hold on. Let me skim this before I waste my time reading anymore. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is just him defending himself for 10 paragraphs. Alright, I'm good. Alright, I'm blocking this email too. I don't want to hear anymore. Alright, that was a waste of time. Anyway. Okay, next. Yeah, I should be... Is that guy in chat right now? I know his name. I'll commit it to memory. I'm banning him the next time I see him. Okay. I won't reveal who it is, but the next time he talks in chat, I'm banning him. There's no way. I don't give a fuck. You wasted all our time. Anyway, okay, next story. Hey Synthetic Man, I've been a fan of your channel for a couple years now and saw you were recently reading emails sent by chat about their messed up life stories. I figure it's about time I reveal to someone what I've kept bottled up for the past 14 years. I turn 20 tomorrow. Well, wait a minute, hold on. Reveal to who? Or you just mean me? Because I'm the only one who know. You know, I'm not going to reveal your username. I guess you just had to tell somebody is what you're trying to say. I turn 20 tomorrow as of the time I send this, so I hope that from now on I can move to become the person I know I should be. This story is going to sound completely made up, but I assure you that unfortunately it's not. I'm going to tell you things I have never told to anyone, including my previous therapist. I lived a pretty normal life before my teen years, had no serious mental or physical health issues whatsoever, and had parents who loved me. See, when I read stuff like this, I mean, I'm going to keep reading, but it is always curious to me when the few times I hear people have normal upbringings and then they end up fucked up. I mean, I know society's fucked up, and that could probably push people, but I think a lot of times it usually starts with the parents, but whatever. Anyway. I'm the oldest of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Me and my brother were always the closest since he was the second youngest and didn't suffer from woman brain at the time. We were homeschooled until the 4th grade, which may or may not have affected my lack of social skills, but I still think it was better than being brainwashed in public school. Even when I went to a normal school, it was a private Christian school paid for by my financially well-off grandparents. I have memories of the transition from homeschooling to private school being extremely upsetting since I hated being forced around people I barely knew personally, and I still do. Yep, that shit does not change. Regardless, I did end up making a few friends and had a pretty normal life. That's not really the whole truth. The next part is something I have never told anyone, and honestly is making me feel sick and suicidal just trying to type it out. As a child, my parents would expose me to various movies to get... Uh-oh. I read this story already. God damn it, I wasn't supposed to read this one. Okay, so... This guy wrote 10 paragraphs about how he got exposed to gross fetish shit, and his brother became a tranny. I'm sorry, I'm not reading it, okay? Like, honestly, my opinion, I did read most of this privately. My opinion is that you're overblowing how badly this sexual fetish fucked you up. Alright, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, given all the other things you described in this story, yes, your brother tuning out is bad, but I'd say the rest is... You might be overblowing how bad it is. I'll be honest. And maybe just because I am, you know, as someone who has questionable fetishes, I have way more problems than you do, I'll be honest. I'm not going to pull the, oh, I suffered more than you card or something, but just given the way you describe it, it doesn't seem that bad, okay? Just because you jerked off to some gross shit does not mean you're permanently fucked for life, okay? I'm just going to say that in case you're listening. I'm not going to read this because literally half of it is just him talking about fetish shit. So I'm not going to read it. Sorry. Alright, moving on. Can we get a real story now? Fuck. I don't have a Troon brother, though. Yeah, but that happened... I can reread it, but that happened later. That was not... That was when he was an adult already, I think. Let me double check. Let me double check. Okay, yeah, I'm remembering more of why I didn't want to read this too. Okay, never mind. Okay. Yeah, I there's a part about his brother ODing on Prozac and getting sent to hospital and then truaning out. So that does sound bad. But I don't know, how old is this guy? Does he say at the beginning? Okay, I guess he would have been, yeah, he would have been 17. So that was when he was 17. I don't know how old his brother is. He's only 20. Whatever. Regardless, I'm not reading that story because it's gross. Okay? I'm vetoing. How about that? But was it funny? No, it was not funny. It was just gross. Refresh email? We don't read them by newest. There's no refresh email, you fuck. You're lucky I don't delete your fucking email for saying that. You don't get to skip to the front of the line. I'm not gonna switch songs till we get through a full Doomer story. All you need to know is jerking off to gay shit. And apparently some buddy of his gave him a figure of that gay Team Fortress 2 engineer meme. He literally put a picture in the email of the figure. It's like, okay, why did you even share this with me? Anyway. So, next story, please be a good one. I'm begging you. Yeah, that he is one of the 14%. I mean, he might deny it, saying he doesn't jerk off to gay shit, but I don't think that's how it works. I think if you ever are straight up jerking off to gay shit, you're gay. This is how it works. Okay, anyway. Hi, Synthler. I'm a fan of over 3 years watching your vids. You've helped me through my worst Doomerish days, and here's my Doomer story. I want to start with my upbringing, as there are a lot of things in my childhood that can explain how I ended up where I am. Although, after listening to some of the Doomer stories on the streams, my parents weren't too bad in hindsight, lol. Yeah, we definitely had some bad parents in some of these stories. Growing up, I was always shy and avoided socializing. My parents emphasized this by telling everyone they met that their son is shy, which certainly reinforced... Yeah, my parents were the same. They were the same way. It certainly reinforced in my head. My father was almost never present because he worked as an army general, so I was mostly raised by my mother. While she wasn't as bad as we saw in other synth cell stories, she was the only authority figure, so naturally I hated her. That's a little rough. I feel like you need better reasons than just she was the only authority figure. Now we get my experience in school. Keep in mind, schools are sex segregated in Iran, so I basically had no relationships with kids at my age of the opposite sex after high school, and I literally only have one female cousin that was older than me anyway, so basically no amount of socializing with the female sex. Is it any wonder Iranians are so fucked up? You know, suddenly this is making a lot of sense, actually. Anyway, I know there were kids... obviously the normie extroverted ones that did have girlfriends because they would actually go out of their way to pick up chicks and approach them after school, but I was never that type of guy. When I was around 7, we had to move from my hometown, which was a rich and safe city in Iran, to a poorer and less safe city because my dad got promoted in the military and was put in charge of border security. I remember having a personal driver for a while. He was armed. My father would talk about stories of his subordinates and soldiers getting exploded and dying in gunfights. I'm glad a 7-year-old got to hear this. In general, the quality of life there, including the quality of schools, was worse, and people were certainly browner and, well, yeah, Iran, yeah? What do you mean? Of course they're brown, what do you say? Anyway, in my perception, lower IQ. To be honest, I was convinced they were inferior life forms. Oh god, here's the chud shit. who only ate in bread and had no high mental function. All they were capable of ideologically was being religious zealot rape goats. Wow. All right. No, trust me, I'm pretty ministry, I have a very global fan base. I've seen my metrics. It's not as surprising as you would think. Anyway, in school, I wasn't the extroverted popular kid. I had my own place as the class nerd, from whom others got cheats for exams. Ooh, you let them cheat? Being generally antisocial and probably autistic, I avoided most of my classmates unless we had constant daily contact for a long period, so I sought refuge in gaming and other solo activities. I got to have an Xbox and play on PC, and I certainly enjoyed more autistic indoor activities like gaming, role-playing with my Lego sets, okay, that's definitely autistic, and other toys. Well, it depends on what age you were, though. I don't know, if you're still a young kid, it's not really that autistic. Anyway. By the time I was 12, I was already woman-pilled, and not in the way you would think. From what my mother and her kids would talk about, I understood that women are very superficial and gullible creatures. Anyway, who only care about drama slop in Turkish movies. I thought they did nothing in their lives until they got married to some oofy-doofy that they could boss around the house and have housewife competitions about who has the most expensive kitchen island. I actually blamed this on Islam at the time and assumed only women over here were like this, while Western women are interesting and cool with real personalities. I don't know where you got that idea. I don't know where you got that idea. Anyway. Today, I understand I was totally influenced by Hollywood movies and cartoons. I guess that makes sense. Like Gwen from Total Drama World. Yeah, yep. Total Drama Island, dude. Yep, the goth girls, man. There's something about the goth girls. We gotta... Never mind. I'm getting distracted again. And my personal childhood crush, Vanessa Doofenshmirtz. Really? Okay. I'd see these and say, hell yeah, I want her to be my girlfriend. She makes my pee-pee hard. Meanwhile, in real life, I'd only see women hidden under hijab. It turns out Western women are as shallow as the rest, and discovering this was one of the main red pills that sent me into a doomer spiral. Around age 13, I had an intellectual phase that originated my interest in politics. I read some quotes of Nietzsche online and wanted to read more, so I went to the library. This is where, in hindsight, I understand how leftists groom children into leftism. The library guide was a balding fat communist who recommended the Communist Manifesto to me. Damn, even Iran can't escape this shit. I picked it up and got autistic about it. One day, I brought it to school to show my classmate and explain the passages I highlighted, and I could see him visibly cringe. That commie phase was short-lived as I got more interested in biology and became a stone-cold race realist by age 14. Yeah, you went chud mode early, alright. Things like the bell curve of IQ affirm my observations of people around me. This is the part where someone Googles the average IQ of people in Iran. Anyway, I did meet some like-minded people at school over time. I'd say the best time of my life was 8th and 9th grade. After that, my friend group got separated into different high schools because I was accepted into a more exclusive school, which in hindsight was probably the worst thing to happen to me at that time. It's 84. Okay, well, you know. That's sort of... anyway. No, listen, this... Never mind. I'm supposed to be taking these seriously. People are pouring out their heart to this audience. My red pill phase truly started during COVID, as my YouTube algorithm showed me a ton of Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson roasting SJW's videos. Assume it's the case for many others too. Yeah, that sounds about right. I became more and more isolated as I approached the end of high school. However, I still had some hope because I had college ahead of me. I thought I would experience love, sex, and obviously get a good degree to secure my future. I was supposed to become a doctor after all. I know, typical Asian parents force their kids to become a doctor. Well, I don't think people think of Middle East, though. Or are you ethnically, like, East Asian? Did I miss that part in here? Anyway, yeah, I don't think people think of, Middle Eastern people when they think of that. Anyway. Yes, Iran's in Asia. That's... Chat, that's like saying Russian parents are known for forcing their kids to be doctors. What are you talking about? Anyway, chat's having a moment where like, I promise I'm like the yellows. I promise I'm yellow. No, you're not. Shut the hell up. Stop culturally appropriating. Anyway. So you can already assume how college went for me. I got accepted into a good foreign university in Europe. From the beginning, I had a hard time focusing on studying and prioritizing self-care, as it was the first time I lived alone and had freedom from my parents. On the first day, I met a girl, white Texican, so, you know, a white Hispanic, I guess is what you're saying. Low-tier Becky, by accident, because we studied the same thing. We became friends, and me being a gooner, I was already imagining her in all different positions. Okay. Needless to say, it went nowhere, and as I never had the courage to ask her out, so she eventually ignored me over time. I haven't had any other foid friend ever since. Obviously, I understand why I haven't been sexually successful, as I'm a 5'7", sub-5, oofy doofy. You didn't say the rest. You should have said the whole thing. And even though I could pass as white... Really, you're that pale? I don't know. I don't know about that. I want to see your phenotype, man. Phenotype is big, too, even if you got pale skin. Anyway, whatever. This is every time. This is what I'm saying. At first... He tries to culturally appropriate East Asians. Now, he's trying to say he passed as white. I don't believe any of this, okay? Sorry, none of you guys are white. I'm the whitest of all. Mediterraneans, the only true whites. We conquered the world. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, so... I'm sorry. This has to be the last story, because clearly... I'm going into punch drunk mode, I think. Anyway, so... It's basically impossible for me to even get close to white women, as I see myself inferior to them. Ooh, I can't believe you just admitted that in text. Only time I feel manly and superior and good and in my skin is around tiny Southeast Asian girls. That's why geomaxing is a thing, I guess. Yeah. I mean, those are usually for white people, but yeah. I'd rot away in my bed most days without even going to school, watching YouTube 10 hours a day. Being antisocial, I didn't manage to find any friends in university. Most guys there were normie, and the language barrier was a bit of a problem, though the cultural barrier was bigger. None of them had souls, and had never played any good games if they'd gamed at all. Shit. Well, I already forgot where you... Oh, he just says Europe. He didn't say what country. I was wondering what country in Europe, but anyway. As I felt isolated and sexual frustration kicked in, I reached out to Discord. Reached out to Discord for online communities. You can already tell where this is going. Yep. I met some real autistic, gooner, mentally insane people. Yes. Many of them were troons. He said it. He did say it. I fell for one of them. Okay. I would never admit this. Anyway, I fell for one of them, and he was working on my mind to convince me to become trans. Be very happy these stories are anonymous, because I guarantee you would be bullied by Chad for the rest of your existence. Okay. I was quite depressed at the time, so under the influence of these people, I was quite depressed at the time, so under the influence of these people, I bought a skirt and thigh highs and posted pictures to them. They liked it and said my skin looks soft and feminine. Why did you admit to this? Do I recognize this name? I think I've seen that name before in chat, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah, that's the fastest I've seen chat move all streams. Yeah, I wonder why. Anyway, so, eventually I started hating these people as I slid back to sanity a bit and understood what was happening. I was enraged that I was so close to ruining my life. Yeah, you said you're the son of, like, an Iranian general, and you were gonna troon out. You can't even fucking make this shit up. Like, what the fuck, man? Anyway. This is where my most extreme right-wing arc begins and continues to this day. All of this is happening as I'm not paying attention to school anymore, so I fail my studies, and that sends me into depression overdrive. This is the first time I went to therapy and got antidepressant pills and Xanax for the extreme panic attacks I developed. Okay, let me double check. So you hold on. I'm double checking something. Yeah, so the father is an army general. The son is almost trooned out. Takes, drops out of college, takes antidepressants and Xanax. What the fuck? Okay. Alright. And we get to the psychologist. Oh, I hate them so much. They never listen, nor would be able to understand what I go through. I'm convinced this cohort should be the first to face the wall after the Sincel revolution. You got it. I self-diagnosed myself with ADHD and autism to a lesser extent, as I did manifest those symptoms growing up and still had them. Especially ADHD, which I blame for my inability to pay focus on anything for more than 2 minutes. My Zoomer brain, fried on super stimuli, that's quite a mouthful, is practically useless at this point. I used to be so much more productive and passionate about things, but all of that is gone, and I feel consistently tired. Yeah, I definitely relate to all of what you just said. It might be a gut problem like yours, but I've never looked into it. Now I'm studying something else, and I'm not really interested about anyways, and I'm probably going to fail again. In the meantime, one of my close high school friends, I'm assuming, has managed to get a girlfriend and a job and successfully turn into a normal fag. Growing up in high school, he certainly wasn't a normie, and we shared a lot of interests, but he wasn't cursed with ADHD, and he's good at pretending to be a normie and like normie stuff in public, which I can't do at all. Now he doesn't even have time for video games anymore, and the little free time he has, he plays chess and does other productive things. I don't want to be envious, but I can't help myself. Feels bad, man. That's the end. Damn. Yeah, that one, holy shit, you probably shouldn't have admitted to some of that, but it's fine. It's anonymous. Goddamn, dude. Alright. That's, yeah, that one was kind of fucked. I'm gonna be honest. No, you're not getting the fucking name. These are supposed to be... Don't ever piss Synth off. He will let chat know. No. I only have told the name to people who, one, either they clearly didn't care about the anonymity, or two, they gave me a fake story and they need to be banned. Okay? Those are the only times I've given away the name. I'm not giving away the name of this. No, he didn't actually turn out. He almost did. That was the point. All of the Mossad agents in his Discord laughing their asses off. They got an Iranian to wear a skirt. Yeah. That's such a brutal fall off, though, you know? Like, sometimes we think... hold on, what? Governor Jimmy, thanks $2. Governor Jimmy, thanks to the $2. That was the message. And then another $2. Synth, wasn't your mom abused by a man, though? Not like that. Not really. I don't know what you're thinking of, but no. Gary's, thanks to the $5. For the grind, don't shout it. Okay. But anyway, what I was saying is, talk about a drop-off from father to son. You know, we think about, like... I'm sure a lot of people in chat have talked about how they failed their fathers or whatever in one way or another. But you go from... Previous generation is an army general to son nearly troons out and fails at university. Like, what the f... God damn, that feels like a meme. That's like one of those memes where it's like, my great-grandfather, here's him in World War II, and here's me, you know, grooming children, or whatever. It's like, this, Minute World, thanks $5. What email do I send these stories? How have I had to say this 100 times? It's my channel email. syntheticmangaming@gmail.com. Jesus. Alright, hold on. I'm adding Rox's theme to the Doom Hour playlist. But yeah, thanks to the $5, Minute World. I'm gonna try my hand at one of these. I have a pathetic existence, but not as pathetic as the guy you just read. Are we really just... I mean, I know it's anonymous, but it's still bullying. You guys are bullying. People are not going to want to send Doomer stories if we're bullying them. Okay, I probably won't read anymore for a while because there's only... one... Wait, is this a... No, that's just a suggestion. That's not a story. Shit, I read almost all of them. We read a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 5 in reserve. We got 5 left. So, I probably should take a little bit of a break so that we don't read all of them. It's bullying somewhat because we want them to do better. Be better!